Hey everyone, it's David here with Stimulus Wealth. Welcome back to the channel where we break down all the latest on financial relief, benefits, and stimulus updates specifically tailored for our community, especially retirees, pensioners, and seniors across the USA who are navigating fixed incomes, rising costs, and the uncertainties of economic policy. I know many of you are watching because you're on Social Security, pensions, or disability benefits, and every dollar counts toward making ends meet. So today's video is all about addressing that burning question that's been lighting up my inbox and comments section every single day. Is 2026 finally the year we get that $2,000 stimulus check? When might it arrive? Who's eligible? Is it really going to be $2,000 or could it be more or less? And most importantly, is this actually happening or is it just more talk? I totally understand why this is on everyone's mind, especially for seniors and retirees who remember the stimulus rounds from 2020 and 2021 that provided much-needed lifelines during tough times. The president has mentioned this concept multiple times over the past few months, not just in passing, but in speeches, interviews, and policy discussions. He's essentially all but promised some form of direct payment to Americans in 2026, framing it as a way to share economic gains with everyday people. We've heard various terms thrown around: dividend payments, rebate payments, distributions, tariff-funded checks. The names have evolved and the proposed amounts have shifted a bit in discussions, but the core idea remains consistent: putting money directly into the pockets of low-income and middle-income Americans, including many of you on fixed retirement incomes. In this video, I'm going to dive deep into everything you need to know. We'll cover what we can realistically expect based on the president's statements and ongoing policy talks, the potential timelines, who might qualify, with a special focus on seniors, retirees, and pensioners, and some honest insights that might surprise you. I'll also expand on how this could impact your daily life if it happens, share tips on preparing now, and discuss backup scenarios like economic downturns. This is going to be a comprehensive breakdown because I know a 12-minute overview isn't enough for something this important. We're stretching this to about 20 minutes to give you all the details, examples, and actionable advice you deserve. But before we jump in, let me share something personal. As someone who's been covering these topics for years, I've heard from thousands of you, retirees stretching their Social Security checks, pensioners dealing with healthcare costs, seniors worried about inflation eating away at savings. This isn't just policy to me. It's about real people like you. First off, let's clarify exactly what we're talking about here to avoid any confusion. Back in 2025, the president floated several ideas for direct payments to the American people, aside from that unique $5,000 Doge dividend proposal, which was a standalone concept tied to cryptocurrency initiatives. Most of these plans revolved around one key mechanism: using revenues from tariffs on imported goods. The concept is straightforward. The U.S. government imposes tariffs on foreign imports to protect domestic industries and generate revenue. Instead of letting all that money sit in government coffers or go toward other spending, the idea is to redistribute a portion of it back to everyday Americans as dividend payments or rebates. This would essentially act like a share of the economic benefits from trade policies aimed at low-income and middle-income households. To give you more context, especially for seniors who might not follow every policy nuance, think of it like this. Tariffs are basically taxes on imported products, like electronics from overseas or clothing from certain countries. When companies pay those tariffs, it brings in billions to the Treasury. The president's team has discussed channeling some of that, potentially hundreds of billions over time, directly to folks like you. And they didn't stop at just one plan. There were contingency options mentioned too. For instance, if tariff revenues fell short due to trade negotiations or global events, backups could include using other federal funds, like from energy royalties or even budget reallocations. The overarching message from the White House has been clear. No matter the hurdles, we're committed to finding ways to get money into the hands of hardworking Americans, particularly those on fixed incomes, later in 2025 and into 2026. Specifically, the president has pointed to distributions happening in mid to late 2026, with November and December often highlighted as key months. Now let's talk timing in more detail because this is crucial, and I want to be real with you. This mid to late 2026 window isn't random. It aligns perfectly with the midterm elections in November 2026. For retirees and seniors who often vote in high numbers and care deeply about economic stability, this could mean relief right when campaigns are ramping up. Politicians from both parties have historically timed financial aid to coincide with election seasons. Think back to the CARES Act in 2020 or even earlier rebates under previous administrations. They frame it as helping when people need it most, like during holiday seasons when expenses spike for heating bills, gifts, or family gatherings. But let's be honest, it's also about gaining voter support. I'm not here to play politics or pick sides. I'm just giving you the full picture so you can make informed decisions. If you're a senior on a pension, this timing could mean extra cash just before winter, helping with utility bills or medical copays that always seem to hit harder then. Here's a key point I want to emphasize. If any form of this stimulus, whether it's called a dividend, rebate, or distribution, and separate from emergency economic measures, is going to happen, 2026 is the prime year. Why? Because post-midterms, the political incentive diminishes until the 2028 presidential cycle. Lawmakers would need a strong reason, like public pressure or a new crisis, to push it through later. Based on my analysis of past stimulus patterns, like the 2008 rebates or COVID-era payments, these things thrive on momentum from elections or urgency. So for pensioners and retirees planning their budgets, mark 2026 on your calendar as the window to watch closely. That said, I mentioned separate from economic emergency measures, and this is an important distinction, especially given current economic signals. Let's break this down further. Everything I've discussed so far assumes a relatively stable economy, no major crashes or recessions. But if things take a turn for the worse, that changes the game entirely. We've been seeing troubling data lately: slowing job growth, persistent inflation in essentials like food and healthcare, which hits seniors hardest, rising interest rates squeezing mortgages and loans, and global uncertainties from trade wars or supply chain issues. For retirees, this could mean higher costs for prescriptions, groceries, or home maintenance, without corresponding COLA increases in Social Security keeping pace. If we slide into a deep recession, say unemployment spikes above 6 to 7%, stock markets tumble, or consumer spending grinds to a halt, then stimulus becomes inevitable, regardless of the year. It could happen in 2026, 2027, or even 2028. Remember Economics 101. Stimulus is designed to inject cash into the system when it's contracting. People spend less, businesses close, jobs vanish. It's a vicious cycle. Payments put money in pockets so folks can buy goods, keeping the economy afloat. And for seniors, this is vital because recessions often lead to cuts in services or delays in benefits, if not countered aggressively. Looking back at 2020-2021, we saw about $6 trillion in stimulus over 12 months: checks, enhanced unemployment, PPP loans. If the next downturn is worse, and signs point that way due to record high debts, personal at $17 trillion, corporate at $12 trillion, government at $35 trillion, we could see $10 trillion or more. Why bigger? Debt levels are double what they were pre-COVID, making any unraveling more severe. For pensioners, this might mean not just one $2,000 check, but multiple rounds, plus expansions to programs like Medicare or Social Security supplements. Imagine relief for hearing aids, dental care, or vision, areas where seniors often struggle. So, to summarize the triggers for 2026 stimulus. First, the midterm elections, a guaranteed event in November. The president has strongly signaled $2,000 payments tied to tariffs, though not an outright promise. It's been repeatedly indicated in policy outlines. Politically, the setup is there: bipartisan interest in trade protection, public support for direct aid. Will it pass Congress? That's the wild card. But with election pressure, odds improve. Second, an economic collapse. If data worsens, watch for reports on GDP contraction or rising foreclosures. Stimulus becomes a must, not a maybe. For seniors, this could overlap with election timing for maximum impact. Now, addressing a common worry I see in comments, especially from retirees. Will they forget about us? Social Security, SSDI, pensions, we're always excluded. Let me put your mind at ease with more details. Eligibility has never been about the source of your income. It's purely about total annual income levels. Past stimulus rounds, 2008, 2020, 2021, used IRS data from tax returns treating all income the same: wages, pensions, Social Security, veterans benefits, SSDI, SSI. The typical thresholds: $75,000 or less for individuals, $150,000 for married couples filing jointly. If you're a retiree on 2,500 month Social Security, about $30,000 a year, you're well under. Same for pensioners averaging $20,000, $40,000 annually. Even if you don't file taxes because your income is low, the IRS can use prior returns or SSA data to verify. Let's start with seniors who rely on Social Security, SS, or Supplemental Security Income, SSI. Many of these recipients live on fixed incomes ranging from $1,500 to $900 per month for Social Security, or only $943 for SSI. For them, even a single $2,000 stimulus check could be transformative. Imagine stretching that money to cover 2 to 3 months of groceries, especially considering that food prices have risen over 20% since 2020. Beyond food, this payment could allow a senior to make essential home repairs, like fixing a leaky roof, or to start an emergency fund for unexpected medical bills or hospital visits. Real-world examples show the difference such payments make. Mary, a 72-year-old widow from Florida on Social Security, shared that previous stimulus payments helped her avoid impossible choices between buying medication or food, demonstrating the practical, life-changing impact for those living paycheck to Social Security check. Next, consider seniors receiving Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, or other disability benefits. Medical expenses for these individuals often accumulate quickly, with copays ranging from $50 to $100 per doctor's visit, prescriptions exceeding $200 per month, and mobility aids that can break down or need replacement. A $2,000 check could cover critical expenses such as wheelchair repairs, therapy sessions not fully covered by insurance, or medical equipment, providing immediate relief. Veterans receiving pensions or disability benefits, typically ranging from $200 to $2,000 per month, face similar challenges. Long VA wait times often force them to pay out-of-pocket costs for treatments like PTSD counseling or prosthetics, and stimulus funds could help bridge these gaps while claims or reimbursements are processed. For disabled seniors, this payment could mean the difference between maintaining independence and struggling with basic mobility and healthcare needs. Finally, many seniors are in caregiving roles, such as grandparents raising grandchildren or senior parents supporting family members. Childcare, after-school programs, and essentials like diapers and formula can easily cost $800, $1,500 per month, and inflation has further increased these costs. For unemployed or underemployed seniors, perhaps working part-time gigs to supplement their income, a $2,000 check could cover job training, transportation to interviews, or temporary living expenses. In short, this payment is not just about extra cash. It's about providing financial breathing room for seniors managing multiple responsibilities, from family care to basic survival, giving them the ability to pay for necessities without compromising their health or independence. In my honest opinion, after tracking this for over a year, a $2,000 non-emergency stimulus is most likely in 2026 if it happens at all. The president's indications, tariff revenue projections, potentially $200 to $300 billion annually, and election alignment makes sense. But if the economy tanks first, watch indicators like the next jobs report or Fed rate decisions, we'll see bigger, broader relief. While waiting, here's expanded advice for seniors. 1. File 2025 taxes early in 2026, even if not required. Claim any unclaimed past stimulus via recovery rebate credit, deadline approaching. Check IRS Gov for forms. 2. Update IRS SSA info. New address, bank change, file a simple return. 3. Don't bank on it. Budget conservatively. Use apps like Mint for tracking. 4. Apply for immediate benefits. Visit benefits.gov, answer the quiz, qualify for SNAP up to 200-month food aid, LIHEAP, utility help 500 plus average, Medicaid expansions, or Section 8 housing vouchers. For example, a senior couple in Texas got 300-month SNAP after applying. 2026 promises to be wild, midterms, potential recessions, policy shifts. But I'm here breaking it down. No hype, just facts for you retirees and seniors. You're struggling, SS not stretching, disabilities mounting, families scraping by. You deserve truth and help. There's real potential for $2,000 checks mid-late 2026, but not locked in until law. Maximize current aid meanwhile. Subscribe to the channel for real-time updates. Hit the bell so you don't miss any official IRS or White House announcements. Share this video with other retirees or seniors waiting on stimulus news. Check my previous videos on claiming past stimulus, SNAP for seniors, utility aid, links in the description. We're in this together. You deserve the truth, the help, and every dollar possible. Stay informed, budget smart, and I'll keep watching everything closely. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.